Well, that about says it all, doesn't it? Let's start with our disclaimer. I am recording this on Friday night, but it's just turned Saturday morning. So it's really Saturday for you all. So it's rather new. All right, let's get into it. So much gossip, so many reports and headlines. Let me just start right here. I hope everybody's doing well. And there's this one's going to probably be a little bit longer, but I'm going to go through a lot as quickly as I can. So a couple of other books that are out is The Other Side of the Coin by Angela Kelly, and we know that she was her personal dresser and that she worked for 28 years, and that and she had, of course, Her Majesty's blessing to write this book. So just sharing with you in case there's other things that you're interested in. Then we have Courtiers by Valentine Lowe, and longtime royal correspondent for the Times newspaper, rightly revered for his forensic reporting, looks especially at those men in suits behind the royal machine and the advisors, the spin doctors, and PR gurus who have mapped the course of the royal principles with a varied degree of success. So that's another. And then we have Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall by Angela Levine. Now, 11, excuse me. I love Angela Levin. Poor thing, she's been attacked so bad by the squad and for speaking out her truth against Harry, but she has every right to speak out. She wrote that biography on him, and then he just changed so much because that was right when she was finishing, his relationship was beginning. So Camilla's path to become wife of the next king has been extremely rocky, and watching it every step of the way has been biographer and journalist Angela Levin. Next stop for the Duchess of Cornwall will be Queen Consort. So this is another good book, I think, that we would enjoy, and then I'll highlight a few others in another. So the Express says, Princess Eugenie makes announcement as royal follows in Meghan and Harry's footstep. I think she talked to them whenever she was out there with them, and they got papped at the restaurant when she and Jack were out in California, and that she was talking to them about their podcast and how that worked and so forth, because she took to Instagram to share the exciting news coming 2 years after Meghan and Prince Harry signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Spotify to produce exclusive audio content and podcasts. So she's the youngest daughter of Prince Andrew and Sarah, and her podcast will be published on Wednesday, and it is the Anti-Slavery Collective is launching its new podcast. So she'll be on there with another co-host. Then we have Meghan Markle hated every second of pointless Australia tour ahead of exit, experts said. Now, we know this was something that Tina Brown was saying, but again, I have so many people that I love and respect and admire from Australia, and people that I consider very close friends, and that's people in my community as well. So I am so sorry that she did that, but just if this gives you any consolation, I don't think it mattered where she went with him, that she would consider it pointless, and she just didn't want to do the role that she was married into. She knew what the role was, so I get so tired when they say she didn't understand. She knew what she was there for. It was explained to her. They wouldn't spend all this money, make all of these arrangements without her knowing. She carried all these notebooks and stuff around with her all the time, so she was briefed on everything. She just couldn't talk about the things that she wanted to talk about. So, Sophia says, on Monday, Angela Levin, author of Harry, a Biography of a Prince, told Talks TV Mike Graham that she didn't want the title. They, Meghan and Prince Harry, don't want to be royal, so they didn't want to do anything that was royal, except use that title that will help them make loads of money. And isn't that the truth? Before the exit, the couple carried out many royal engagements on behalf of the Queen, including overseas royal tours and visits. And then Piers Morgan blasts Meghan Markle for lining the pockets over the royal duties. So I just need to glance at something here. All right. Sorry, trying to keep up with the time. Piers Morgan blasts Meghan Markle for lining her pockets with cash over royal duty. So he says, once again, blasted Meghan following claims she hated every second of tour in Australia when she first joined the royal family. The Duchess of Sussex joined Prince Harry back in 2018. Think about how long ago this was. And I think this was even before they were married, right? Or was this just after? So, and then they saw and visited Sydney, Melbourne, Dubbo and Queensland Fraser Island. So I would have loved to have done it. I don't know anybody that wouldn't have been so grateful to go and be a representative or an ambassador for the Queen of England, and to be able to go over and do anything they asked me to do. I would have been happy to do it and done it with a smile on my face, and happy to greet people that had come out to see a representative that was there on behalf of the Queen. So, however, former Vanity Fair editor Tina Brown, and the one that wrote the book The Palace Papers, said that she didn't understand the purpose. Well, she did understand the purpose, so I don't like you saying that, Tina, but I think what you're meaning is, in her own mind, she thought, yeah, I got to go, and I'm going on behalf of the British monarchy, but I also want to say what I want to say. But Meghan, it wasn't a political tour, and it wasn't for you to go and say what you believe and think in your own right. If you wanted to do that, then you should have never married into the family, or you should just sit down and write a book, or get involved in things behind the scene where you could actually do good. But we know you like to put your name on a cause. You like to show up once, get the photo up, and then kind of scoot out of there and never to be seen or heard from again. The problem with Meghan is Meghan wants all the fame and prestige, but she doesn't want to do the work. She's actually a very lazy person. So Piers said on Twitter, of course, because it involved duty, not lining her pockets with cash, and designed to promote the institution that she ruthlessly exploits but constantly trashes. And that's true. They've got themselves in a pickle, because while they wanted to blame and point fingers at the monarchy and get people all around the world divided by race, to say that it was racism that she encountered, when we know it wasn't, that she has kind of cut off her nose to spite her face, because now she's having a hard time go back because they want that IPP status, and Harry still has that ongoing case against the Crown to get that. But I'll tell you, and I know I've talked about this before, but if you get an internationally protected person status, it also means that when you're treated like a diplomat, that people who go and say things about you, or people who write things on social media, could be heavily scrutinized and even looked at as terrorist, or someone who is after a internationally protected person. So we would have to stop talking about her, I believe, if they did get that status. But I don't want them getting the status for other reasons that I don't think any of the taxpayers want to pay for their heightened security and gun-toting security, no matter where they go. If they're in the U.S., if they're in Australia, if they're in Canada, if they're in Britain, we just don't want to pay for that. If they're as rich as what they say they are, pay for it yourself. If you're that afraid, get some therapy, because I believe you're a little bit paranoid. Reacting to the reports, Piers took to his Twitter, in view of 7.9 million followers. Piers wrote, of course, again, that it involves lining their pockets with cash. Everything that she wanted to do. She wanted freebie outfits. She wanted freebie, jewelry, merchandise. She wanted to have everything, but she doesn't want to pay for it. Meghan is one of these stingy people. She wants to keep her wealth. She doesn't want to pay for it. She thinks that it's a privilege to be in the position that she's in, and that everybody ought to pay her to wear their clothes, to wear her shoes, to wear whatever it is that is their product. So, going on, gobsmacked, Meghan had astonishing feud at first party at Buckingham Palace. And you'll remember this. This was to celebrate Charles's birthday, and this was when Harry made his speech in his coat and tails, and he got stung on his ear by a bee, and Meghan laughs at him. She's standing up there beside Camilla and Prince Charles, and just breaks out in laughter. Well, that's not funny, and it doesn't feel good to get stung, but it also shows that she had no respect for her husband. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex wed in St. George's Chapel at Windsor on May 19th, 2018. So I guess Australia was later in the year, and they were married then. However, just 4 days later, at a dinner for Prince Charles' 70th birthday, Meghan is said to have done something that astonished a guest, according to a royal author, Lady Colin Campbell. So it says that, and she's also the author of The Princess That Nobody Knows, and was star of ITV's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So anyway, she said that Speaking of the incident, Miss Campbell told the Star, I can't repeat it exactly, it's in the book, but what I can say is something that happened at the very garden party. Well, I know that this happened because I read the book too. So she and Harry were going around, and when they were receiving people in the garden, Charles and Camilla were ahead, and because it was Charles' birthday, many people had small tokens of appreciation or birthday gifts to give to Prince Charles. Well, Meghan and Harry were walking through the line, and she was seen and heard several times collecting gifts like they were given to her, and then immediately she would pass them over to her assistant. But she was overheard telling Harry that, Harry, come on, this is boring. Can we go now? We're just shaking hands. We've already been seen. We've already done the photo op. We showed up. Let's just sneak out of here, allegedly. So anyway, it says that Lady C says something happened there on Tuesday, and I was told about it on Wednesday evening at dinner by a household name with impeccable palace connections. So this is what they were wearing that day and standing up there as Harry was making that speech. According to the author, Meghan's blunder came just 15 minutes into the event when she turned to Harry and reportedly said, Harry, this is really boring. Let's leave. But she didn't just say it once. She said it over and over. And other people that were standing in line to greet them heard it. Well, it immediately got back to either the assistant or directly to Charles and Camilla. And Camilla and Charles walked over and greeted them. She reached down and kissed Meghan on the cheek and told them, thank you for coming. You can go ahead and leave now. And they had one of their staff member in coats and tails waiting to show them out. Meghan had a stunned look on her face, and then Harry did too, kind of like, what's going on? But he must have realized, he knows that what Meghan was saying, and just didn't expect it to get back to his father and Camilla. So instead of embarrassing the royal family by something they did very kindly by inviting them there, they didn't want people to hear them say, look, let's get out of here, I'm bored. So they just said, oh, thank you for coming and goodbye. So when they got back in the car, I remember looking, and Meghan had a look on her face like, well, and Harry had a look on his face like, oh my God, we've just done it again. So every time he protected Meghan, whatever she did wrong, he was always there. You can't not do that to a narcissist. If they don't feel supported, then you're going to catch that wrath we've talked about. So it just said, Miss Campbell also said that she herself emotionally invested in Meghan's success. However, she continued, it quickly became apparent the ride would not be as smooth as what everybody had hoped it'd be. They knew then that they had trouble on their hands and in the family. From the day after the wedding, this was the day after, people. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry eager to come back as part-time royals, fresh claim. Meghan Markle was dealt a major blow as her animated family series, Pearl, was dropped. We know about this. And said in a wave of cutbacks, the streaming giant dropped several other projects. It wasn't just hers, but she'd been doing it, and they'd announced it since 2020. So, good gosh, it's 2022. Do you not have a pilot ready? Do you not have something that you would have been able to show? And it was said, there were rumors said, and I'll say allegedly, that Meghan was trying to actually write the script, that she wanted to be the voiceover of the little girl Pearl that was going through history and meeting all these women of prominence, because this pushes the woke agenda. But what we've seen, and there's still companies out there doing it, you go woke, you go broke, because you're not forcing this down many of the people's throats. And I don't even think it's 50-50. I think it's a lot less woke than it is non-woke. And again, that means you want to do everything that's so politically correct that it's beyond being absurd as to what they want you to believe. While they would attend in an unofficial capacity, the invitation has brought up questions about whether Meghan and Harry could ever function in the monarchy. Well, I don't think they can. I think we've seen the polls that are out there, and nobody wants them there, but we especially don't want them on the balcony, and I'll get to that later. Kinsey Schofield, the founder of royal site todiefordaily.com, claimed the ukexpress.uk Harry and Meghan would be eager to return to the UK as part-time royals. Well, we know this is true because this is what they wanted as part of their Brexit deal. And Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles, Prince William said, we just can't see this working. You can't be half in, half out. And then knowing that they wanted that association to go over and merch products. We've seen how they put the Duke and Duchess on everything. And they need that connection in order to even have a brand. Because let's face it, what brand do they have? It's the crying whingers that are related to the royal family who mistreats them. That's it. So she said, I think they would be willing to come back and live there for 6 months at a time. We would see Prince Harry is not willing to give up Frogmore Cottage. Well, I can't find where they did re-sign the lease again. And we know Eugenie and Jack are there. So did they or didn't they? Because I can't find anywhere where they let them have it. And I don't think Harry'd want to be paying the $10,000 a month or think Eugenie and Jack could afford that to just to keep it to say he's got a residence. But who knows what they're doing behind the scene. Hopefully that'll come out as well. She said how Miss Schofield did, however, admit that the option to return may not be immediately available. It's because they're so disliked, and I can't see Prince Charles doing this. But they think as Queen Elizabeth passes away, God forbid, Prince Charles ascends to the throne, that they would be able to play a critical role, and think Charles would want that. Well, I think that all depends on what comes out in his memoirs. And I really thought this was PR hype about them even being invited back for the Jubilee, and still think it is, because I feel like what came out of that meeting was, if you write about my wife or you write about us, you better be ready for legal ramifications, and you better be ready for other things to happen and be admonished. So let's go on to Elle magazine. Why Meghan Markle and Prince Harry skipped the 2022 Met Gala. So the Met Gala is a big event that's had every year in New York City. And I'm telling you guys, they weren't invited. They weren't invited at any time. It said they've not gone to the award show together, and not even the Oscars, the glitzy Vanity Fair party after. And this evening, the Duke and Duchess weren't among the A-listers at tonight's Met Gala. It's unclear whether they were invited. I'm not even going to go there because I'm telling you they weren't. So, but what they were is seen at the Santa Barbara Polo Club, and I brought you that in another video where, Harry's playing polo with Nacho, and his wife is there and their son, but they weren't invited to this, and I'll tell you why. And they can make it seem like they're too busy. They don't have anything going on now since Harry is finished with the Invictus. I think as soon as that is finished and that documentary is created, that he will not get it renewed for the following years. And that means without the money backing of Netflix, and we don't know how much they were able to raise or how much was left after Harry and Meghan were paid for appearance or expenses, whatever they were paid for, if it'll even be allowed to go on. So, brings me to this. Can you believe that Prince Harry, as soon as the cancellation from Netflix was done, and I'm going to come back to the Met Gala, well, he picked up the phone and called his contacts at Netflix, and they said, and this comes from Neil Sean and someone that is a staff member or someone from California on his team, Prince Harry begged his contacts at Netflix to not cancel Pearl, to please let Meghan keep on with it, to proceed with it. He begged and asked if there was any way they could work out a deal, and it comes out that nope, there wasn't. So Neil Sean said in this video, why is Harry now begging for his wife? Well, what happens is every time somebody tells Meghan no, or that you can't do something, then Meghan just goes ballistic, allegedly, that Harry tries to smooth it over. Harry tries to be the fixer. Well, let me talk to him. Let me see what I can do. Let me see how we can fix this going forward, because he knows it will make her miserable. So Harry called Netflix and begged them, for Christ's sakes. How embarrassing is that? A prince of the UK calling a business company that he has a deal with and begging for his wife. That's sad, really sad, Harry. So here's everything you need to know about the Met Gala for 2020. And this is Blake Lively, and she is married to Ryan Gosling. And I think she had the most beautiful outfit. And she does every year. So they were actually the host this year. And it said, even though only 8 months has passed since Kim Kardashian climbed the Met steps to her something. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Oh, sorry, I erased some of that because it was just too long. But Kim Kardashian wore a dress that was owned by Marilyn Monroe that was famously worn on stage and where she sang Happy Birthday, Mr. President to John F. Kennedy. And, oh, God, I think it said she spent millions for that dress. And it was a flesh tone, but I think it had, oh, God, 2,000 beads or maybe been 200,000. But it was gorgeous. But Blake Lively, who I just showed you in the red outfit, and her comedian husband, Ryan Reynolds, were the hosts this year. But you get people that are co-chairs like the designer Tom Ford, Instagram's Adam Mosseri, and Vogue's Anna Wintour. And they're the ones who decide if you're rich enough, glamorous enough, in the headlines enough, popular enough as to who will or won't be invited. And I know if she got an invite to any of these things, she'd be going with bells on her hands and feet. So the Met Gala, just to let you people know that are not familiar with it or who don't live in the U.S., it is a charity event, and it's considered a fundraiser for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute, which is an amazing place. And New York City does have some of the most famous places to go and see. My son's there now. He just flew in, and I was up most of the night because his plane got delayed for hours and hours. But his fiance is living there for her job for a year. But I lived and worked there as well, and did love it, but it's just not a place you want to stay long term, or at least not in my eyes. But years after the event raises 8-figure sums. So it is one of the highlights. And you see people like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Madonna, Rihanna, all of these people, Kate Moss, that the big designers and stuff will go, and they pay a huge amount. So all of that is going to a charity. And I knew the amount, but I've forgotten it now. But anyway, this is somebody, George Soros, if you're not familiar with him, do a little reading on him. But he's one of the richest people in the world, and I think he's like 11th now. But he's big on the lefty woke side, and he is somebody I think is not right in his mind, but he owns Soros Fund Management. But anyway, his net worth is $8.3 billion. And he was 42-year career on Wall Street. He lives in upstate now and has a huge home there outside of the city. But he said, this was the interesting thing about him, and I'd learned this years ago. But in 1992, according to Forbes, Soros made $1.5 billion in one single month by betting the British pound and several other European currencies were priced too richly against the German Deutschmark. And so he made that much in 1 month's time. But he's a very strange man. He was born in Hungary, and I'll just tell you, it says it's one of the world's foremost philanthropists, and he's given away more than $32 billion of his personal fortune to fund the Open Society foundations, and they do work around the world. Well, a lot of it is funneling money through different things, but and also the Central European University in Budapest, which he does do some things that are good, and has given lots of scholarships to people that are underprivileged and would never have opportunity to get an education. But he is a socialist, and he wants a socialist society. But he likes to fund a lot of woke causes, and he also makes sure that he's part of mainstream society as far as drug users, sex workers, and the LGBTI people. He uses them with his platform of giving to them to make it seem like it's the Democrats that do all of these wonderful things for him, but they do it really to be able to get them on their side and to be able to get the vote for that, while they do a lot of dirty, underhanded things on the side. Hello. And that was my video the other day. But we'll keep it moving, and I'll tell you more about him in another video. But I just want to kind of introduce you to him and get you familiar with him, because I believe this is who Meghan has backing her, and I think we're going to have more proof of that in the future. So, good to know, says the Royal Duty, Meghan Markle hated every second of when she married Prince Harry. And I won't go into this again, but it just also talks about that when they were stepping back as senior royals, the pair were active members of the firm for 2 years. I think it was 18 months. The first which saw the couple embark on a traditional trip around Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, and Fiji, and came the next 6 months after they had got married in 2018. So, and we know that when she was in Fiji, she fired her female security, or she quit on the spot, because Meghan acted like there were too many people up close and in her face, and it was very hot, and she was avoiding someone from the United Nations from something that she had said. So she had them rush her out, saying it was a security thing. And it wasn't. And the security guard said, look, you don't listen to us. We can't protect you. I'm out of here. And she quit on the spot as soon as they got her back to safety. But she is a nasty human being. Look at Harry's face. I tried to put this mirror which would blow it up. And he's got his hands together. And I don't know if he's thinking about his mom or if he's thinking, my God, what have I got myself into? I know this girl is scary, but it's too late. Here's my pop with her, and I'm about to get married to her. Or maybe he is the happiest at that moment he's ever been. But I just remember thinking, this is not going to work out well. There's going to be explosions. This girl is not going to follow directions. She's not going to be a team worker. And in her interview, she said her and Harry made a perfect team, and they couldn't wait to work. She didn't say she was a team player in her engagement interview. She said they made a great team. And what she did was convince Harry that we can't work with the other members of the family, but you and I make a great team, and we're going to go off and we're going to conquer the world. So, going on, they will come back, Meghan and Harry, back to return to firm after big blow to Queen. So, we'll see. So, we're going to get that PR stuff. Will they come back? Won't they come back? So, it says they could come back in the royal fold and be deployed to connection with the younger generation, a royal author has claimed. Well, I think that's Tina again, and I'm not even going to spend any more time on it. I'm just going to say that, yes, there was a bit of popularity, but Harry is not the same person he was when he was popular, and nobody feels the same way about them. So I don't care what you bring them back to do. I don't think people are going to accept them or going to show up, and I don't think they're going to support them. So the Sun writes, the cynical scheme. Meghan Markle was desperate for prestige when she snared mentally fragile Prince Harry. And he's referring again to Tina Brown's book. So, and we know all that. Fame Mad Meghan saw Harry as the solution to all of her problems. I don't remember if that was in the Inquirer or what, but this is the way she felt. I'm telling you guys, she never wanted to marry him out of love or out of duty. She wanted to marry him because he raised her social climb and elevation to a level to where she thought she would gain respect and worldwide recognition, global recognition. That's all it was about. She's never cared for Harry, and I can tell you she's not in love with him now. And I'll explain why in my next video. Daily Mail, Prince Charles biographer Jonathan Dimbleby brands Prince Harry not the brightest and claims Meghan has led him by the nose as she slams that ghastly Oprah interview, or as he slams him. I'm sorry, Jonathan is a man. So, yeah. Oh, and this is something else I was just going to say. Now, I know I've shared in other videos something with you about Harry's behavior when he's younger, but I'm telling you, and I'm not trying to force Harry out of the closet, but straight men don't do this. Members of the royal family don't do this. And these are different from other ones that I've showed you. And they don't lick people's face, and they don't lick their ears. But there is something that Harry is hiding, and I think he's afraid for it to come out. And who knows, maybe he's being blackmailed with it. And I think that there's involvement that he has in this way with Marcus. But I think this makes a great cover. Harry is married, has 2 kids, and I think at this point, Meghan's like, I don't care what you do. I just need your family. I just need to do this, and I need you to back me, support me, and show up when I want you to. Again, these are my opinions. There's no proof. I'll just say it's gossip. You don't have to believe me. These are just my crazy thoughts and opinions. So the Sun says, Royal Rift, Queen Elizabeth News, Prince Harry's rants about William and Charles were so extreme, his ex insisted he sought therapy. And that was talking about not Chelsea, I don't think it was, although Chelsea might have too, but that was Cressida Bonus that said that she just couldn't take it anymore, that whenever they were together, Harry always had an issue complaining about the roles that his father, Prince Charles, were given, and that his brother, Prince William, and that he felt like he was the bottom of the heap. Well, Harry was never going to be a king of the United Kingdom. Prince Charles will, and Prince William will. But no matter how many times you try to explain that to Harry, or people have tried to get him to understand that, he's jealous. This is why he turned against his brother, and again, why it was so easy for Meghan to be able to say, see, they don't treat you right. You know, they want to send us here. Well, we should go at the bigger places. We should be able to pick and choose. No, Meghan, Harry was just the prince of what was to be a future king and the brother of a future king. You were never going to be on the throne, and neither was Harry. So Miss JP says, exactly, 100% sod off Scooby-Doo. And I'd reported about this, and you all guys all know Omid. And the story comes up in just a minute, where he's been having issues, financial problems with the business he had, and he hadn't filed taxes on it in 2 years. And I think they were giving him 60 or 90 days to get that cleared up. And then I told you on a previous video that he was going to be writing, but I couldn't remember who it was from, for. So he's just got an online article at Yahoo, and it says, the appointment of PR peddling pillock Omid Scobie to Royal Executive Editor at Yahoo. News is just yet another own goal by the wicked wench, formerly known as Meghan Markle. And it's time that this sop was simply told to sod off. And this is from the Steeple Times in the, I think outside of Wales. Self-anointed, Omid Scobie is rather like his nickname, Scabies, in that he has become an infestation that burrows into the skin and causes an irritating rash to form. He is unwelcome everywhere, and he has set his troll squad on everyone from the Daily Mail's Richard Eden to the wonderful Welsh wobbling YouTuber Sadie Quinlan. More on her in a minute. A.K.A. Yankee Wally, simply reflects his own rotten to his core persona. Well, he comes after a lot of people, and so does the squad. And he's what makes me mad is that he shouldn't be able to be a royal reporter when he's so openly biased and favors Harry and Meghan, and then makes attacks and terrible comments and posts about the royal family, and kind of goes with the sides with Meghan and them and wants to put them down. So this was a post that was on Wally's Getter. So for those of you that have tried to listen to her on Rainbow Radio this week, this is from Wally, and she says, I have left Rainbow Radio, and let's see, yes, I'm having a hard time with it. Then Rumble had censored her for 4 days. I wondered why she couldn't get on for 4 days. But she said, I'm back now. Be glad when my YouTube channel is reinstated. And that's fingers crossed. Those are things that we're working on, but it's not 100% given yet. But hopefully it will be soon. And she says, thanks, Flossie. And she was writing this in response to Flossie Hassan, who was asking about her whereabouts and where she'd gone. So nothing happened with Rainbow Radio. There was no falling out. It's just she had to record one thing for Rumble and then something else that was more talking and less pictures like she likes to do and we do on our videos. So that doesn't kind of work out too good on the radio because it's just audio only. So it was getting to be double work for her, and she wants so much just to get her YouTube platform back that she's going to focus on working on that and stay with Rumble for the time being. So again, she is appreciative of Rainbow Radio. She thanks them a lot, and nothing happened there. It was just getting to be too much work because, you know, she's still going through a lot of dental procedures, getting post-in and getting her implants done. So there's going to be days where she's going to need downtime for, healing and recovery on that. So I just thought I would put this up since it was her words, so I didn't put words into her mouth, and I just told you what she was saying to somebody on Getter. So let's get into some gossip. So celebrating the soaps. British royal family reveals that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry appear to have dealt yet another blow after Netflix announced on Sunday that one of their many Phantom projects has been canceled. It's being reported that the flighty pair will not have exclusive filming rights for Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee celebration. Not only that, it's unclear if they will even score an invite. And this is what I was saying all along, that I don't think they have been given an invite. They needed to put stories out to connect them to the royal family to make it seem like during that secret visit, which wasn't so secret, but that they were invited and all of this stuff. But I think they know that they're still loved and they're family members. They're not going to be out there with the rest of royalty. And I think Prince Charles and Prince William know this, that it can't happen. But I think even Her Majesty is hopefully has the right people advising her that this is not going to happen. I'll tell you more on that in a minute. So this was just one of the posts that she'd put up and said that Prince Harry reportedly won't be attending Prince Charles' coronation. Well, we know that he's going to write about Camilla in the upcoming memoirs that are out this autumn, but it says that he won't be able to do it and watch it because that should be his mama up there. Well, I'm sorry. His mama did a lot of things wrong too. Harry, that's the sad thing about it. Sometimes when people die young, we tend to idolize them, put them up on a pedestal. And with anyone, you remember the good things about them and you remember the happy memories. And we tend to forget about the things that were not so good about them or the mistakes they made or the things that we heard and know that happened. So he has this adulation of his mom that he just, I don't know if he'll ever be able to let it go. Then it goes on. British royal family news shows that Meghan Markle seems to have severely misjudged her star power, and that combined with a suspect working ethics, allegations of bullying, and a reputation of trashing her in-laws, a penchant for stupid human tricks, and a career suicide move of cold-calling congresspeople to tell them how to vote, has exposed her flaw, a deep unlikability among the very people with whom she needs to succeed. And I still see some YouTubers that think that, and this is okay, but just like I'm not aware of other things in other countries as much as people who live there. But I'm telling you, in the United States, they are not well liked. You're seeing articles that come out in their favor, but they're paid for. They're from the publications that if you pay them a certain amount and they're going to print them. And that's why they said they would only work with certain publications after that Megxit, because they know if they go give a story to anybody else, they can twist it and turn it, and it won't be the story. It won't be printed the way they wanted it, and they wanted that control. So that was the whole reason behind that. So it goes on in celebrating the soaps. One royal expert alleges that Meghan Markle's mistake started way before Megxit, when she didn't comprehend that Princess Diana before her had worked like a dog for more than a decade for the royal family before launching into global humanitarian superstar stratosphere. And that's the thing. Yeah, Diana did work hard, and she did want to keep busy, and the boys were in boarding school, and it was good for her to do that, and she wanted to still be a part of the royal family and to represent them. But where she went wrong was basically an interview just like Meghan, where she sat down with Martin Bashir, and she was tricked into it, but she started talking about personal relationships behind the scenes, which is not something she should have ever done. And she regretted it, they said right after, but you can't undo the damage once it's done. It's just like a house catches on fire and it burns to the ground. You can't very well go back and build it exactly like it was. It can never be that way. You can rebuild it, but things are going to be different. So that was where she really messed up as far as I'm concerned. But let's see, ex-Vanity Fair Tina Brown had talked to Lorraine on ITV's Today show, and she'd even talked about that. And again, she said that she didn't understand her role. Well, it was told to her, and it wasn't just Harry's responsibility to tell, but we know that the Queen put her best people with her for up to 6 months, and I think it was even Samantha Cohen that they called Samantha the Cougar, who was put there, and she traveled a lot with the Queen, but she was paired with Meghan so that she could help teach her the in and outs of royal protocol, what you do at events, what you do at these things, what's expected of you, how to prepare for it. So she had all the help. She can sit there on that chair and lie to Oprah all she wants, but we know that the royal family is not going to send somebody out who hasn't been trained and prepared for their duty, so that they can be a total embarrassment of them. But yet she goes out and pretends in public that she's doing her duty and a smile on her face. But then we find out that behind the scenes that she hated it, she was miserable, and she didn't want to do the things that they told her to do. Meghan is a control freak, and you're not going to tell Meghan what to do. Nobody is. And the more you try to tell somebody who's like that what they need to do, they are going to rebel against it and do everything just the opposite. So it says, instead, the former game show briefcase carrier expected to follow in the stilettos of Princess Diana, the late beloved royal. Tina stated that the commoner had no clue of the great deal of very humdrum assignments, please, that Diana did on behalf of the monarchy before achieving her icon status. Tina, you're being very nice, and you knew that you had to write things and because you were going to be calling them out. And, I know you're being careful because you don't want to be sued. And we've already heard rumors that Meghan's going after her on this book, and that also he'll go after Tom Ballard, Brothers at War, on his when it's out later in the year. Well, I hope the royal family go after Harry and his memoir that he has a ghostwriter writing for him. But, yeah, a lot's been going on, and lots been going on about the princesses, too, and Eugenie and Beatrice, and there's lots of still talk about where William and Catherine are going to move with their kids, and they want to be on the palace estates, but they want to be closer to the Queen, but also maybe outside of the city a little bit to where they can be there for the Queen easier, and then have protection and stuff for the kids. It might be time that they do that, because Kensington Palace is still somewhat in public view. I mean, it faces the park right across from their residence, and I'm not sure the kids are able to go out and play very much or do things. I know there's the center courtyard, but that's still not private, and that would still concern me, about their safety there. So I think they want to give them that family atmosphere. Plus, she'd be closer to her parents, and as they take on more engagements, it's only natural that she would want to be close to her parents, because I'm sure they watch them and care for them when they're away, and don't just have a nanny that does that, although I'm sure they have help, which is good. It makes you a better person. If you need someone, if you're that busy, just like working parents, and if you need a mother's helper or nanny or whatever, I have nothing against that. I personally chose to stay home and took care of my kids during that time until they got in school, and then went to work with them there. But I think everybody should do what works for them, and every family is different. Also, the ages of your kids and how far that they're spread out, and depending on what kind of job that you have, and what you can afford to do. So each to their own. I would never put anybody down for that, but I know that she needs help, and she likes to be very hands-on and do their cooking and have the fewest members of staff that they would possibly need. I can understand that too. I would want my privacy, but they also they need help. William and Catherine have been working a lot more, and I hope that they're getting all the support that they need, and I'm sure they are. So it's been reported that Meghan was not appreciative of the Royal Australian tour that she was sent on to represent the Queen. And Brown called her the cable actress and said she didn't like it at all. She found the whole thing of a representational job of suppressing her own views and representing the monarchy just for its anthem. It's not her viewed role, the world. She did not understand the point of it. And yes, and I just want to say again, I am so sorry to anybody that has ever been offended by this American woman, and especially to the lovely people of Australia, that she would have the nerve to say this to somebody or to even feel this way, because I know that you're lovely people. and I know it had nothing to do with anybody there. It's just she didn't want to work, and she didn't like this schedule where everything was mapped out her from morning till afternoon. She doesn't have that kind of ethic that she wants us to believe. So it goes on in our celebrating the soaps. British royal family news reveals that Prince Charles reportedly wants to trim back the monarchy. Well, we know that, but what he's talking about, his alleged plan includes taking roles away from his disgraced brother's daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie. Now, there's one house on the royal estates, because we've heard that Edo and Princess Beatrice are looking for a home on the Windsor estates. That and it might be, is it Adelaide's castle or home or cottage that might work out better for William and Kate, but they need to get first dibs. But tell me why Prince Andrew is still in the Royal Lodge, and I don't know that they should even have those titles as princesses anymore. They're not working members of the royal family, so I'm thinking that after Her Majesty passes away, Prince Charles might tell Andrew and Fergie that, hey, you got to get out of the Royal Lodge, or you've got to go to someplace smaller, because it's been rumored that he now cannot afford the upkeep. And even if you're given one of those places, whether you have to pay rent or not, but you have to keep it up and put money into it. And I'm not sure that Andrew and Fergie now have the means to do that. And I don't know if her book is going to fund that enough. We know they like to be waited on and they like to have their staff, but he may have to, move his daughters into one home with them and not just be able to give them royal estates. I just don't see that that's going to happen. You think about Princess Margaret. Her kids weren't given titles, and they weren't given any estates or cottages or residences on the royal estates. It just wasn't done, and she didn't expect them to. They made their own ways. Of course, the Queen's sister, was able to stay there at Kensington Palace, but some of these people are just so entitled that Prince Andrew, again, is fighting tooth and nail. And maybe that's why he's standing so close to his mother right now and trying to make sure that after she passes away, that Prince Charles can't boot him and Fergie from the Royal Lodge, as well as his two children from any residences that they may take up on the estate. So I think he's trying to make sure everything's put in writing for the long term. And I'm sure this is why Charles and William and the rest are grateful for him going by, but they all have to watch. Isn't it terrible what family members will do behind the scenes, trying to go get in the ear of the sick or ailing loved one to make sure that something is put in the will or is put in writing long term and can't be overturned? So it's like we can see this soap opera going on from behind the scenes without even, seeing it. So this is all making more sense now. So again, he's just wanting to slim down the monarchy, and this was talked about. It said on Mail Plus or Palace Confidential, and it said that according to Kay, there has been a sudden influx of PR, and the princesses seem to be getting. So he's talking about, they seem to be in the news more, and especially with Eugenie, the second daughter, with her podcast, and she seems to be trying to get out there and get articles written about her more. So if they're doing this to try to make it seem popular, I really haven't seen Edo and Beatrice do it. And I believe that they're very respectful to the family. But with Eugenie, I get this feeling in my gut about her. And she's so close to Harry and Meghan that she's the mole in the family. And she wants them to come back, but she also wants them to be able to help her out to make sure that she's not written out of the script in the slim down monarchy. Those are my opinions, but I'm dying to hear what you all think about all of this. Let's see what else we have. So it says that Eugenie is house hunting. So it's again that the sword backdrop of the York sisters exists. Doesn't help that Eugenie is bunking down in a borrowed royal house with her family. And we know that's Frogmore Cottage. Andrew reportedly wanting to give yet another residence near Windsor Castle. And probably because they are struggling. And it was rumored to be £10,000 pounds a month that they have to pay for rent for the cottage. And then we know Harry wanted to re-sign on it. Again, I can't find where that's been done, and I think that was up at the end of the second year. And I can't imagine him paying that much unless he really was going to be half in, half out. And I think that's been made clear to him on that visit that he won't be. But I really think they won't receive him back, even though it's being put out that he will, until after that book comes out. And if it is, he won't be seen out in public or pictured in anything. I just don't think the monarchy works that way. So, and I went by that too fast. So William and Catherine had celebrated their 11th wedding anniversary, and I think that's wonderful. And it just goes on to say that they truly are a wonderful couple, that they had met in college, married in Westminster Abbey, and now parents of 3 lovely children. Although I really wanted them to have another kid, but they're probably so busy now, it's just not able to. There's a love story scripted, Better Than the Best, that theirs is a love story that could be a Hallmark movie, and here are the ways in which they have thrived for over a decade. So, moving on, and they are lovely. Royal family reveals a royal expert recently blasted Prince Harry for his calculated digs at members of the royal family. Daily editor Richard Eden recently made the accusation against the Duke of Sussex in an interview with the Mail Plus. So he's just talking about how they're just going on, and there's this big barrage of things that they throw at them, and how it has to be calculated, because why would you do that? He's trying to bring down the family. It says Harry's now married to this actress, and I get the impression that he's given guidance, tips, and he's prepared for this type of interview, talking about whenever he had a sit down, that it is coming from his wife, I believe. So then we have what is the 6th today. It was Archie Harrison Mountbatten's 3rd birthday. I didn't see any new photos out there of him, and what's really sad about that is the photos that had to be put out were old baby photos. So Good to Know says Archie's birthday photos from the royals all have heartbreaking detail. Did you spot it? And I'll tell you exactly what it is. The royal family wishing Archie Mountbatten Windsor a very happy 3rd birthday. And it's funny they didn't put Master Archie this time, but still no titles, which he's not entitled to. But he could be the Earl of Dunbarton, but they don't want. And Baron of Coquille, I think. But anyway, this is the pictures that they have to use. This shows you that the royal family does not have photos of Archie. If they had been given photos, don't you think they would have used an updated photo of them? And there's some reason why they didn't use the Christmas card photo. And I think it's because it was photoshopped. But then the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge at Kensington Royal did this of the christening, where they're holding Archie in their hand. So here he is, just a few months old, and I think this was the same picture they had put out last year for his 2nd birthday. So it's just so sad. And one one reader, commentator, said that to express their sadness with one writing, why can't they use a now photo of Archie? That's just sad. Well, honey, they can't use a now photo of him because they don't have any. They won't send them out to the family because these things could be compared, blowed up. We don't know if Archie is really theirs. He probably is. We don't know about Lily Beth. She probably is. I just don't know the reason. You would have to ask them, but we just know that there's so many secretive things that go on that that they've made us wonder, whether or not they use a surrogate, or whether or not that first interview with the press was an Archie doll or Darren doll. We just don't know, because they play games with us, and this shows you the psyche of this woman and her husband. It's not normal thought process, and she causes and creates all of this drama and conspiracy, flying around her. So, not done yet. Thank you for watching that. One more thing. Neil Sean just reported today that there will be no balcony for Harry and Meghan if they end up coming. And then media, please stop with the will they or won't they come. So now I've seen a few things come out that say they won't, a few things that come out and say they will. But do you really think, and I want your opinion, if Meghan Markle won't even come back for other events and she's not getting her way about the christening, and she's not getting her way about being on the balcony. And Meghan never wanted to come back to the UK to start with. I don't believe Meghan will come back, so I don't think she'll let those kids come back, and I don't think that Harry will come. If he does, it will be alone, and his wife will say, we didn't get the security fixed, so it's not safe for them to go. She may change her mind, and I could very well be wrong and end up going, but in my heart of hearts, when Meghan left the UK, I thought that would be for good and that she wouldn't come back unless they get the half in, half out. And if Charles ends up doing that after Her Majesty passes on, I will be so upset. But I don't believe William will allow him to do it. And I really think Charles is at his wit's end and the end of his tether, that knowing they're having to sit and wait on this book to come out. I feel like they've told him to stay away, and Harry and Meghan want us to believe that they've been invited. I don't think an invite was extended, and I don't think the family wants them coming in any way to upstage during Her Majesty's Jubilee or cause any upset to the family. I think what they've said is, if you want to come back, don't come back at the biggest moment of our Queen's life. Come back when it's calm and when you're not trying to get out into the press. But you guys have to tell me. I'm sorry this was long, but I've still got another one I've got to make. I'm telling you, it's coming out so fast. And another thing, don't go yet. But I am still caught up, and I've still got a little bit more to watch from today's The Trial of the Century, Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, where it's a defamation lawsuit against her. Lord, let me tell you, she's been on the stand the last 3 days. The woman acts like she's crying her eyes out, but I can't see a tear come down. I have seen her literally wipe her nose and look at a photographer who's sitting on the first pew behind the counselors and pose for a picture. Because she stopped and hesitated with her eyes looking directly at him for a good, 4 or 5 seconds, and then proceeded to move her tissue down. But she has said the most outrageous things, and I'm telling you, I have always believed that Johnny Depp was innocent, and I still don't believe he'd lay his hand on a woman, because at 57, if he was going to hit a woman, he would have done it long before now. But she is a borderline narcissistic with a histrionic personality, and I think she's so much like Meghan Markle and Jada Pinkett Smith, just in my own opinion, that I have seen so many similarities. And I think when the day finally comes that she dumps Harry, and she's going to, right now, she's not, or he's going to have to walk away, which is going to take a lot for him to do that. She's going to hold on to him because that's her ties to the monarchy. She has no brand, but that's what she's tried to turn into a brand, and she needs that. Now with this Netflix still gone, and I'm telling y'all, I've been predicting this for weeks, and I said Netflix would go, and I'm telling you, in my own opinion, Spotify will end up leaving her, because she won't do what they tell her to do, and they keep bringing in more people who can't work with her, and she's never going to be able to have any of these deals come to fruition. And the whole thing about moving to New York, I think she would like to move because she thinks, oh my God, I'm impulsive, I've just got to do something else. But I think Harry's thinking, I'm not moving. This is it. This is where you want to come and live, and we're going to live here. And I don't think he wants to live in the New York jungle, because New York has changed very much over the last few years, and the crime rates have skyrocketed through the roof, and it's not the safest of places to live, in my opinion only. And if you live there, I don't mean anything, it's not a dig or anything, but it's just what I know that my loved ones have experienced in the last few years, because I have family up there. But anyway, let's see, was that it? Oh, but this reminded me of Meghan fake crying Amber Heard did when she was on Oprah, and she kept wiping underneath her nose and underneath her eyes, but never any tears fell. But that was what Amber was doing, and Amber had the worst crybaby faces on her face, but just couldn't make that tear come out because she was twisting the truth so much that I can't wait till Johnny's prosecutioners or his counselors go up and cross-examine her, because they've caught her in so many lies that I can't believe that that Johnny's not going to win. Now I think he's going to win no matter what, but there is a chance he could win but her not have to pay the $50 million that he's suing for, which is his loss of films and independent and big movie studios during that time. It adds up to $50 million, and but I think he's going to win, but he'll win in the sense that people will know that she was lying all along, and he will get his reputation back. But I do think he'll be awarded something. But I think at the very least, he should be awarded that his attorney fees be paid, that he should get his loss of income, or at least a partial amount of it, and everything that he ended up paying for her in their divorce. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Sorry, and if you want me to talk more about that, tell me, because I'm watching it from start to finish, and it is just totally fascinating. But then I do get mad at it and want to throw something at my TV screen, and then I'm eating too much too. But anyway, so I will get the videos out to you. I'll try to get another one out tomorrow. But I don't know if I remember wishing Happy Mother's Day back at the end of, I think it's like March the 27th for people in the UK and around the world. We all celebrate Mother's Day at different times. For us here in the U.S., this coming Sunday is Mother's Day, so I'm not sure if I will put a video out on that day. I probably will, or will at least start on one later in that evening, or go back and read the comments then. But I wish you all a happy Mother's Day. And whether you actually have a child that you're raising or not, there's many people that are mothers to children. Maybe it's their nieces, their nephews, their grandchildren. You are mothers, and it's a wonderful job to have. It can also be tiresome. It can be filled with anxiety and worry at time, and just wanting to do by them and give them the best possible, chance to grow up and succeed in life. But I want to wish you all a happy Mother's Day, and if your mother is still alive, do something special for them. Reach out to them, send them flowers, send them a card, and write something special in for them. Or if you're close enough to go see them, spend time with them and show them and tell them how much you love them and how much you appreciate them. And this is even when you may not have, there's going to be some people that maybe there's a distance between you and your loved one, or maybe there was a falling out. That doesn't mean that you can't still come together and tell your mother that you love and appreciate them. They did give birth to you. They gave you life. And just tell them how much that you're grateful for just doing that, if nothing else, even if you just send a card in the mail. But I'll talk to you all very soon, and please let me know what you think about this. And I love you all. I appreciate you. Thank you for those new subscribers. I always ask to give me a thumbs up if you like the content, okay? But it really helps if you put something in the comments, even if you just go in there and do an emoji, because again, Google is trying to do everything they can to derank us, along with YouTube. And we want to get our word out. I want to grow my platform. I want to get my message out about these two. And the only way I can do that is through you all. And the only reason I'm here is for you. You are a wonderful community, and I appreciate you. And have a good day.